And we've got an interesting topic here. Rob G, TJ Hockenson, Pro Bowl or tight end for the Minnesota Vikings, just signed a record-breaking deal. It's the highest deal ever for a tight end. 4 years, $68.5 million, $17.1 million per year. Rob G, bring us up to speed on this story and the context of all.
Yeah, well, lost in the sauce, Chris. We don't care about the total money because, that's all fake dollars.
Right.
The guaranteed money, $42.5 million, the highest in NFL history.
For a tight end.
For a tight end, yes. Shout out to TJ Hockenson getting paid. And because he's TJ Hockenson and because it's the Minnesota Vikings, it's a story, but it's not necessarily the big story, right? Because when you see a guy like him get paid, and he's a fine player, your instant thought becomes, well, if TJ Hockenson is worth $68 million, $42.5 million guaranteed, what's a guy like Mark Andrews worth? Or more specifically, what's Travis Kelce worth? Because you remember back in June, he did that interview with Vanity Fair. We talked about it on the show. And he talked about his managers and his agents telling him repeatedly how, quote, underpaid I am. And then he goes on to say that I love winning. I love the situation I'm in. You see how much more money you could be making. And yeah, it'd be hitting you in the gut a little bit. It makes you think you're being taken advantage of. I don't know if I really press the gas if I can get what I'm, quote, unquote, worth. But I know I enjoy coming to that building every single day. So is it possible, Rob Parker, that Travis Kelce, if you thought he was underpaid before, how is he feeling today?
If I'm Travis Kelce, I have my panties in a bunch today because he's the best tight end. He should be making more money. And here's the other thing. Chris, did they sign Chris Jones or did I miss that?
Not yet.
Okay, so they're saving money on people, but Chris Jones didn't get any money. They're still haggling with him. They've lost people, and it's not an either or. That's the part that I have a problem with. It's not if I take less money, we win for sure. Or if I take more money, we lose for sure. The Los Angeles Rams won, and you can say whatever you want. They were in cap hell now, but they got the job done. They won. And if I'm Kelce, I understand winning. But you've won. You've won 2 Super Bowls. At some point, you don't know how the NFL goes. You could be hurt. You could have a bad concussion, Chris, where you have to bow out. Your earning potential could be cut short. You can never make that back. All I'm saying is, not that you have to bankrupt the Kansas City Chiefs, but you should get your value because you're one of the best players playing, and guys who are not as good as you are getting dollars. I don't, it's not an either or. If Kelce takes less, the Chiefs are going to win for sure. If Kelce takes more, the Chiefs will never win again. That's just not the case.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously can never guarantee that you're going to win. There are a lot of ways to look at this story. One, Rob, we know that because the way the NFL seems to work, it's not just the tight end position, and this is certainly not just the only example. It's kind of like a next man up thing. You know what I mean? We see it with quarterbacks all the time. Like, you might not be – Jimmy Garoppolo at one point was the highest paid player ever. And so was Matthew Stafford.
Right. It's just the time of it.
So I think that's one thing for Kelce to look at. Like, obviously I'm better than TJ Hockenson, and it was his time, obviously. So that's one way to look at it. And then I think I agree, like the Chiefs, the second thing is the Chiefs have, they've talked about being a dynasty, and they're right there on the cusp. 2 championships in 4 years. They obviously, I think they've got a great chance to keep winning more with Patrick Mahomes. But now, Rob, you are starting to see, and you've seen, Frank Clark gone, Orlando Brown Jr. gone, Tyreek Hill gone. Now, they've kept rolling, and if they continue to do that, then they may continue to lose great players. But now you hear Chris Jones obviously wants to get paid. Travis Kelce has brought it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
if it didn't bother him, Chris,
right.
he would never bring it up. It would be no
Absolutely.
conversation.
And he may have been asked specifically. I don't know about it, but he brought it. Bottom line, he played into it, and he said the right thing as far as I want to stay there and win. I love going to the building, but he did address it. And then Patrick Mahomes, now he seems to be fine. And Rob, that contract he can kind of re-up every few years. You know what I mean? Like change the money, so it may be better money than it looks initially. But it seems like money is becoming more of an issue for them, which is understandable. We saw it with the Patriots in a free agent sport, right? You play well one year, other teams are going to want you. And so, but it's becoming an issue, and you got to wonder, can they continue to win as they may lose these guys? And then I think, look, Kelce just has to make the decision. Rob, you know this. He is getting more, because he's with a champion, he's getting more attention. He's getting more coverage. He gets more endorsements and all that comes with that, commercials and all of that. Like Gronkowski, he got more attention. It's great in his own right, but he still got more attention because he was with the Patriots. So there is money you get off the field that you can make up what you may not get in salary, and also opportunities afterwards, right? Because Kelce's a champion, because of all the great things he's done, not only individually, but he's done them with a winner, he probably will get more opportunities post-career than a TJ Hockenson or somebody that's great, but doesn't do it in a winning situation. So it's just a lot of different ways to look at it from my perspective.
Yeah, I got it. I'm just saying it's not an either or, and that's I think the drum beat is that it's an either or. If I take too much, we can't win, but you're losing players, and this is what happens. Like players start to, everybody wants to. Chris, it's a short ride. You're not playing 18 years in the NFL. You're not, and so you got a short window to earn your money, and you need to maximize, and that's why his agents are saying the right thing to him. Is like, dude, there's a lot of money on the table that you should be getting that other guys who play your position who aren't nearly as good as you are getting paid.
Yeah, the key, and even, Rob, you and I negotiate our contracts. I mean, we have agents, but it's very similar. We get a certain length on the contract. You get money. And my thing is I always want what's fair. And I understand what level I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
you're not going to talk yourself out of a job.
I'm not Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
So I'm not going crazy, but you want what's fair.
That's all I'm saying. And you don't want to feel like you're being taken advantage of.
Right.
Like they could come to you, Chris, and say, well, Chris, you have the other job on First Things First. You shouldn't have to make the same amount of money that Rob makes on the radio. You wouldn't stand for that, would you?
No. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. But they could use that and say, well, you already got 2 full-time jobs. You're making a ton of money. What do you need that much money for the radio? And Chris would be like, well, I'm out of here.
You're right. That's a great example. You just want to be treated fairly. So if I'm Kelce, Rob, I don't feel like I have to be, even if he's the best tight end, and he is right now for sure, I don't feel like I have to be the highest paid tight end necessarily, because I understand every year maybe somebody, or every few years, somebody's going to pass me just because it's their time. But like I said, you want to be taken care of. I should be in a certain level, top 5 or something like that. You know what I mean? And like I said, Rob, I've said this before. When I was at ESPN, one of my earlier contracts, I had an opportunity to go elsewhere for more money. But I stayed at ESPN. The money was good, as it is with Kelce, obviously, but not that type of money. But you know what I mean? And I took less because it was like, I'm at ESPN, I'm on TV every day, that type of thing. And so Kelce, I respect it if he's saying, look, I'm winning Super Bowls. I'm playing with the best quarterback in the league. That's just going to help my legend grow. And I am making good money. But I just think guys have to go in with their eyes open. If you're, like you said, treat me fairly, and if I just got to count up the cost, am I cool with taking a little less if I want to be in this position? And I think that's, as long as you know that's the deal, you don't want to get hoodwinked. You don't want to get blindsided or taken advantage of. And so that's what you have to count up. But you're right. I mean, it doesn't, because you take less doesn't mean you're definitely going to win. But he's just in a great situation, period, because of the quarterback he has.
And the contract he signed, Chris, 4 years, $57 million. No guaranteed money the last 3 years.
Yeah, see, that's and you and I have been beating
right?
the drum for guaranteed contracts.
Seriously, for years.
I'd
have a problem with that.
Right, and that's where you should be able to go to the team, and a lot of times the team will do that. I mean, they don't want to guarantee you your money.
But if he gets hurt or something happens, you know what I mean?
See, that's the thing. You need clauses, and maybe there are clauses. I don't know, but you need clauses in there to protect you, because a lot of times the team will, they re-up you, even if it's not quote unquote guaranteed. They're going to re-up you as long as you don't get hurt. And you better make sure, though, if you do get hurt, that you do have those clauses. You know what I mean? Where stuff is guaranteed. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The biggest problem to me is the lack of guaranteed money in the NFL. We've been talking about that for years.